in a weird confluence of events, I read an article that my sister sent me. I'll have it linked down below and I'll put a picture up above. And the discovery of some things in my massive declutter led me to this video today. I know the title is a little clickbaity, but I am taking it directly from the article in The Atlantic, and I'm making sure that I am attributing it to the Atlantic article because I really thought that was very interesting, and it actually ties into a lot of the conversations that I've been having with folks lately and my thoughts on luxury, makeup, fashion in general. And so what am I talking about? The article is Your Sweater is Garbage. Today's video, Your Makeup is Garbage, is about how sweaters used to be, and they have a whole, and hopefully you'll read the article because it's a really great article, about how the chunky fisherman cable knit sweater that Harry met in When Harry Met Sally is this gorgeous, really well put together, like chunky, beautiful knit sweater with like tighter sleeves, and it looks great on him. Like it's a really beautiful sweater. And that recently, I forget which, and again, it's in the article, that an actor was like kind of re-envisioning that scene and was wearing a fisherman's cable knit sweater, and it just isn't the same. And how even when you spend a lot of money, even when you're looking at luxury brands, a lot of times the ingredients, the materials that used to be used just commonplace aren't used anymore. And it's because there's various reasons. One, supply chain issues. Two, sometimes that you can't use those products or ingredients anymore. Three, frankly, and I hate to say this because some of these brands are my much loved brands, but it's all about profit. It's not about, you know, making the best product and making it something that we can all love and you know, keep for generations. I have clothes that literally I've had for 20 years that I will never get rid of because they're 100% cashmere, or they're 100% wool, or they're 100 whatever. Or even if there are some, and there's nothing wrong with, you know, there is nothing wrong with having other types of fabrics, but they're made in such a way that they're really well knitted, or they're really well designed, or they're hand stitched, all of those things. And that just doesn't really happen anymore. A lot of it has to do with fast fashion and people changing their ideas about what they want to wear. But, you know, 50, 60 years ago, people didn't have as many clothes. They had one or two special items, and then they had, you know, a whole bunch of other stuff. As a child, I got hand-me-downs from all my family. I have a big family. I didn't have new clothes as a child, and to be honest with you, it never occurred to me that I would want new clothes as a child. As I grew up, of course, you know. But the same thing is true, I think, in the makeup industry. And so as I was doing my declutter, I'm decluttering my closet, I'm decluttering my makeup, the sale is coming, my sister's helping me, I promise. I'm also decluttering my entire house. So, I mean, I have bags and bags and bags and bags and bags and bags of things. Some things are being donated, some things are being sold, some things are just being thrown away, unfortunately. But in doing so, I have been going through, our house is a big house. I'm very fortunate. We built a house 7 years ago now, outside of Boston. And it's a big home. And so what happens in a big home, you basically fill your space. So you have small home, big home, whatever, you fill your space. And my sister was helping me get through some of the closets, and she's like, what's in these boxes? And I was like, I don't even know what's in these boxes. So I brought the boxes down, and guess what I found? Guess what I found? I found all my old, and I mean old, not all of it, but the stuff that I had held on to. I think I've said in other videos, like, hey, I used to have that, or I had all these testers from Chanel, and I don't know where they went, and I thought I threw them away. I did not throw them away. I have them here, and in fact, some of them are on my face. So what we're going to talk about today, and what I'm going to show you, is how much worse, how much worse makeup has really gotten. And again, it's not everything. Talking about like fashion, I do have some clothes like the Row, Brunello Cucinelli, Loro Piana. They still make amazing things, and they're beautifully done. But here's my point: those things are now extraordinarily expensive. Not just expensive like they were 30 years ago, but out of most people's price range. If you're looking at a Brunello Cucinelli sweater that you really like, it's like $6,000 or more. I'm not going to spend $6,000 on a sweater. It's not going to happen. And I'm in a pretty comfortable part of my life. My husband and I have worked really hard for 25 years. You know, we're in our 50s. Like, we're in professions, again, fortunate. We're in professions that, you know, monetarily do very well. So, like, you know, who are these people who are spending $6,000 on a sweater? Very, very, just a very small percentage. And the same thing is happening in bags, like Chanel bags. I've talked about this. I like the vintage Chanel bags more than I like the new bags. And recently I've decided that there's like a couple of bags that I'm going to pick up. And honestly, I think I'm going to get them on, you know, Fashion File or The Real, not because they're cheaper, but because they're better made. Because the older ones are. The newer ones, for the most part, aren't made as well. And as I was looking at my makeup and talking about like new releases and how a lot of things aren't particularly interesting, and talking about Chanel in particular because I worked for Chanel, a lot of the shadows that have come out and a lot of the blushes and those types of things, I've just been kind of like, eh. And when the holiday collection came out for Chanel and I raved about the eyeshadows, I got a lot of, not flack, but I got a lot of like, well, the color story isn't interesting. And I was like, yeah, but the formula is like the old formula. And for those of you who hadn't tried it, you're probably like, I don't know what you're talking about. So let me show you what I found, first of all, which I just think is hilarious. My sister was just like, why do you still have these things? So first of all, I found a whole bunch of old mascaras, which of course I threw out. But I will tell you, there's some really cool old mascaras. There was one by MAC, I don't know if I still have it, that had like a mascara brush inside a mascara brush. If I can get it in the trash, I'll get it before this video is over. That was really cool. There was just a bunch of things that I was like, oh my goodness, I remember this. And a bunch of Chanel and some Clé de Peau and some Tom Ford that honestly I don't really remember picking up, but let's start with the Tom Ford because it's just kind of interesting. So this is my original Terra bronzer that I bought 18 years ago. Is that long ago? It could have been like 18 years ago. Pretty sure, 17 or 18 years ago, in New York City at Saks. I remember exactly where I bought it. And it was the brown, it was still the brown, now it's in the white. And you can see how much of it I used. I mean, still, technically, you can use this. I mean, I'm gonna plan to. But anyway, this is the old Terra. And what's interesting to me about this, okay, first of all, the fact that I kept it, which is fascinating. They don't make this size anymore. They stopped making the large size. For a bronzer that you use all the time, that's when you do need a big size. In my opinion, you don't need a big highlighter. But a bronzer, yeah. But anyway, they stopped making the big size, right, in Tom Ford. The second thing is, this bronzer is not only still good and smells absolutely fine. I'm double checking, just making absolutely sure I wouldn't lie. Not only is it absolutely good and, you know, the power of this bronzer is better than the new one. And I'm going to show you. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love the Terra bronzer. The color, I think, is basically the same. But, first of all, this size they don't make anymore. This size is gone. But I'm going to go do the same thing. Look at that. Same color. But the intensity. Do you see that? This is the old one, 15 years old, or maybe it could be close to 20, guys. I'm not absolutely sure. But look at the difference. They changed the formula, obviously, between these. And I can't tell you what exactly is different because I don't have the boxes. But this Terra is old. This is not a new one because, like I said, they stopped making these, the size. So this one's 4 years old. I think this one's 4 years old. This is 15 to 20, not quite sure. And the old one, which has been sitting in a box, is better. So, first of all, I'm going to pull this back out and use it on my face because it's better. But think about that for a second. One more time. Fairly sure that Tom Ford didn't decrease the price for the bronzer. Okay. Second, Here is a Tom Ford trio, which I don't even remember them having. Obviously they did, called She-Wolf. Do I remember this? No. Gorgeous, right? You know, I was complaining about like the Tom Ford, like some are really good, some are not great. By the way, the cream ones that are coming up, I have gotten confirmation they are coming. I do have dates. I can't talk about it right now, but I do have dates. It's soon. They are creme formula, but it has been changed a little bit. More to come. Okay, so here we go. Again, this is old, and this has been sitting, I don't know where, like, I don't know when I picked this up. No idea. But I want to show you, you're going to laugh. Because you'll just be like, what happened? Now, you know, I could say what happened because Tom Ford no longer runs Tom Ford. Now it's an Estee Lauder company. The formula in here is so smooth and so silky and so beautiful that you can see why Tom Ford was Tom Ford and why I bought all of the Tom Ford quads and lipsticks, which eventually went bad because there was some weird thing going on. But look at this. I have to wear this like immediately. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. I mean, and it feels beautiful. Like it's smooth as silk. And I'm sure I didn't pay as much as I pay for Tom Ford now. And I can't get it off my hand because it's that pigmented. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong, there is some good Tom Ford. Like I said, the khaki, the cream one that came out, that one I really liked. And there's others, Metal Lust, there's some good ones. But back in the day, like Coco Mirage, which was discontinued, from what I can tell, is the same formula as the creme formula, but now they've changed it again, was a miraculous quad. And there was others. But my point is, this little 3 is better than practically, I would say better than half at least, maybe 60% of the Tom Ford that's come out lately. So what is that? What is that about? What is that about? Okay. Some more. I found these, which just, I was so excited. These are old Christian Dior from like, I don't remember when the blue was. I feel like the blue was the 90s. I don't know though. I'm gonna have to do some research and try to find out. I can't really see the backs of these. Let's see what this says. Let me see if I can get a magnifying glass. Because it's worn off so much. All right, this is 210 the Mauves. This is 210 the Mauves. And they're still good. They still pack a punch. They still, and look at how like the design, I mean, it's still that, you know, the same design that Dior, I'm sorry, yeah, it's the same design that Dior did, but look at the packaging. Look how cool that is and how different. And the lipsticks used to be like this too, but obviously did not keep any of the lipsticks because those would have been gross. Okay, this is 705. This is called Discreet, I think. Like I said, it's come off the back of the packaging because again, these are old, but just, you know, just in these. Now, again, these aren't the new formula that Dior had because the Dior quads, there were Dior quads that came in between these and like the older ones, the newer ones, which were gross. Those weren't, not gross. They just weren't good. But now Dior, of course, has changed their formula again and has gone to something that's terrible. One swatch, guys. Look at the pigment in those. Both of them. And look at this shade. Look how pretty that is. Both of them. And they're perfectly good. I mean, I'm not suggesting you go out and, you know, find 15-year-old makeup, but I'm just saying it doesn't smell. It's not, there's no granularity, nothing. Now, these are powders, again, and they've been stored in a dry place, but still, I mean, don't keep your lipsticks. Or mascara, but I will talk about mascara in a second, because everything on me right now is old. Well, not the foundation, but everything else is old. The foundation's Laura Mercier. So yeah, that, I was just like, how is that so good? I mean, how is that even possible? This is Clé de Peau. Now, maybe some of you who have used Clé de Peau for years remember this packaging. Very cool packaging, right? And it's a double piece. So you open it up. I want to be careful because it is broken. I mean, it's old, so that's not like a huge shock. But the bottom, it's like the Gucci. The bottom has the brush in it. And the top, this is the part that's broken. Look at this powder. It's the same design as the top. Now again, it's broken, but look at that. I used it and it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous powder. Like, just looks stunning on the face. And I was just like, okay, maybe I should go find like all makeup. I mean, again, don't get me wrong. I understand, like you can't, I have been able to keep these things stored. The way that it was stored in the box and everything was actually wrapped and everything else, which is why we weren't sure what was in it. So I actually stored it appropriately. But, you know, some things did go bad. Like I had the mascaras and there was some cream products. They definitely all went bad. I don't know why I kept those. But the powder products all lasted. And I think part of the thing is interesting. A lot of the makeup now doesn't last. And again, some of it's for good reasons. They have changed some of the ingredients that were used before that might have been not the greatest ingredients to use. So, you know, I'm not denying that, but I have to say, like, all these products are good. They still work. They're far more pigmented. You saw the Terra. That is literally at least 15 years old. I know that. And it's more pigmented and smoother than the new one. So we are getting ripped off. Now, is there an alternative? I think a lot of people, you know, like indie brands, they feel like they do better quality. I feel like I'm starting to be like more like Dior, for example. They changed their formula. They have their new eyeshadows. And I'll just tell you guys, and I've said it a million times, I just don't think it's as good. When I find one that I think is as good, I'll tell you. Same with Tom Ford, same with Chanel. But it's even more important to get information or try the products before you buy them, because not only are they much more expensive than they used to be, but I think overall they're not as good quality. Every once in a while, the brands come out with something that's really good. The Clé de Peau, the new formula, the Chanel winter collection, the new one, the primer, the Chanel primer, like those are all like, I could be like, yeah, that's worth it. But for the most part, overall, I see things declining and the price is going up. All right, we're gonna get to Chanel in just a second, but I have to show you this because this is part of what it was in. So this is a really old Ralph Lauren makeup bag, which I think is hilarious. I don't remember buying this, but apparently I did, and it's pink. So, and in here are a whole bunch of MAC shadows, a whole bunch of MAC single shadows, which was what I wore back in the day. And if I never mentioned this, and I'm gonna have a picture go up of me in my Chanel outfit with my sister. You guys are gonna crack up when you see this. The Chanel shirt did not fit me well. This was not attractive, and I don't know what was going on with my hair. But anyway, I have a lot of hair, and I hadn't really figured out how to get it cut. So I used to, when I worked for Chanel for a while, at a Nordstrom, there was a Chanel on one side and a MAC on the other. And so I ended up with a lot of MAC single shadows because the MAC makeup artists would always be like, oh, this would look great with you, you know, whatever. So I ended up with a lot of MAC. So I have a lot of MAC single shadows in here. They're all amazing, to be honest with you. They're all good shadows. And I'm just like very excited to see them. And then I have like a bunch of old like MAC palettes that again, I'm excited to have because I'm like, oh, I don't remember these. I don't remember owning these. So I have to go through all of those. There is, interestingly enough, Tom Ford and Chanel creams in here that I assume are bad. But this is like the, you know, the whatever it was called. Yeah, they're dried out. They don't smell or anything. They don't smell or anything, but they're completely dried out. This one was shade Emerveille, I don't know. Anyway, there's a bunch of them in here, so I have to go through those. Like a ton of them in here. There's an old Guerlain. This is Terracotta Light in Blondes, which has like pink in it. This is an old one. Where that came from. And then there's a ton of, I mean, like of Tea Leclerc. If you don't know Tea Leclerc, this is and I'm sure I'm butchering the pronunciation, it's a French brand, and I used to buy it at Barney's. And I loved the shadows that they had, and you can see why. The formula in this was absolutely amazing, and I used to love these. And they're single shadows, and you know, I used to get these at Barney's, and I couldn't afford to get them all at once, but I have like a ton of them in here. There's I mean, there's a zillion of them in here. And then here's one that's like a quartet. Yeah. So I can't wait to pull these out. I tried all these in here to make sure that they're fine. There's nothing wrong with them. They don't smell. There's no weird things. All good. There's something in here from NARS. There's custard. It says custard and ginger. I think they're cream contour. Look like, yeah, they're creamy. Interesting though, they feel fine, which is weird. Oh, they're probably for eyes. They're probably base for eyes. They don't smell at all, but you know, it's gotta be like, this is old. So again, they used to make things that last. Not anymore, because I know if I took what I have now and put it in, it would go bad immediately. Let's see what else is in here. This is NARS. Which one is this? This is Windstar. And it looks like there's like two different powders. I don't know if they're highlighters. I don't know. They're powder. Yeah, they must be highlighters. Okay. Honestly, guys, I was ecstatic. I was just like, oh my goodness, I am so happy. So yeah, I'll go through all of these and I will feature them in some, you know, upcoming videos like the Tea Leclercs and the, you know, the Macs and stuff, because they're, like I said, much more pigmented and they seem like better quality than recent stuff, which is just, I don't know what to say. All right, so let me just show you the Chanel because you will crack up. All right, so now I have before shown you my Chanel blushes, and so I have kept a lot of these. And the one I have on today is Golden Sun. Golden Sun is like one of the best shades to ever have been made. This is the tester. It still works perfectly. Still, it's incredibly smooth. It still has that smell, that like rose scent. It's just the most beautiful, beautiful. If you can get this from a legitimate, that's the problem with buying like, you know, somebody who maybe worked for Chanel and has it and has kept it well, the Golden Sun is stunning. They are expensive to buy. Like I've seen them on secondary sites and, you know, people who are like, who do that for a living that can be relied on. Yeah, they're not cheap. They're like, they charge a lot for this because this is a very hard one to get. But I can tell you, this one is 20 years old and still, it was just as pigmented and as beautiful and perfect as always. And it went on, I mean, look at that. Now, if you look at the new Chanel blushes, because they reformulated them, it's not even close. Like you can't, I would not even put them in the same category. Never mind say that they're the same blush. So the blushes specifically, huge letdown. The lips liner. Now, I mentioned many, many times years ago when I worked for Chanel, the lip liners were terrible. And then they fixed them. They made them perfect. And Nude Brun, which is what I have on today, was a perfect shade. And now they've reformulated them. And I showed you in a video a couple weeks ago, the new Nude Brun is a different shade. From what I can tell, the formula does seem to be the same. I didn't notice a big difference in the formula, but the shade is different. So if you can get a hold of, and you love Nude Brun, if you can figure out which ones are the old ones from your SA or whatever at Chanel, I would strongly suggest, or whatever shade, because it looks like they might all be different. I don't know. They changed it again, which just is depressing. I don't know what to tell you guys. The lipstick I have on is Charlotte Tilbury. This is super nude. This came out, this doesn't exist anymore either. And I know that Charlotte Tilbury has recently come out with new lipsticks, and I've actually thought about picking a few of them up, and I might still do that. But I want to say, back in the day when she came out with these lipsticks, like almost every shade she came out with was like a winner. You know what I mean? Like there was just all of them were fantastic. And that's, you know, that's just not the case anymore. Now it's so more hit or miss. Some are really good, some are eh. But the formula, the matte formula that she came out with was exceptional. The kissing formula, which this was exceptional. The shades just hit perfectly. They were all great. They might not be your shade, but it was a great shade for somebody. I mean, you get the trend that I'm getting on. The mascara, you can see how long my lashes look and how like separated, and yeah. This is the Marc Jacobs mascara. I have one more left. I bought them when I heard that Marc Jacobs was going out of business, and you know, you can't keep a mascara more than 6 months once you open it. But if you keep it closed and outside of any air or light, you can keep them for a while. So I have one other, and then that's it. One of my favorite mascaras. And I hear Marc Jacobs is coming back, so hopefully they have a similar formula or a better formula, but you know, certainly not worse. Shuamora, I had this little teeny Shuamora, and you can't get Shuamora, I don't think, in the United States anymore. But I had to show you this because, of course, it's green. I must have picked it up. I don't even know where I picked it up, to be honest with you, because there's a tag on the back, but it doesn't make any sense to me. But I have to show you the formula, like the color. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like that just, and when you see this, see the luminescence of it? Like, look at that. That just doesn't, that's, you know, I think some indie brands have things like that, but a lot of times when you're getting it from just like, you know, your luxury brands, high-end brands, they don't deliver that anymore. And it's, I don't know, to me it's sad. All right, so Chanel. Okay, so first let me show you the testers, because I have these old testers and they're in plastic, which is hilarious, and the plastic has yellowed. The formula in here, the shadows are fine, but the plastic looks terrible. So I have to figure out like another way to figure out how to put these. But anyway, so this is called Pastels. Again, these are 25 years old, because I got these when I was a makeup artist with them. Pastels, and I gotta tell you, they work fine. Look, these are pastels. And look at the formula. I mean, honestly, one swatch. Just, I mean, and that's what I remember. I remember everything being super pigmented and, you know, like I didn't have to blend. I mean, it was great. Okay, this is called Lunaires. Look at the pink. I'm not gonna even do the black because I tried the black and it's like, it's black. And there's like a white in here, which is fantastic. This one is called Voilée. That's Ellie. She's barking because someone's downstairs. Look at the purples in here. This mauve color. Oh my goodness. Like, I love this. It's like the perfect mauve, whatever. For me, like it's just, I love the shade. Like a one and done, just like simple look that gives a little bit, but not too much. Okay. This one is Eccentriques. Like I said, these are super old. I'm going to use them because I've tested them out and they work fine. Look at that. Wait till you see this color. Look at this gold. It's so pretty. I was just like, okay. I know I'm like totally nerding out over like old makeup, but guys, so excited. All right, this one is Planets, and this one was my favorite. Plummy, I used a lot of it, you can see, because it's got dents in it. Okay, and then this one. I don't have the name of this one. If anyone knows the name, let me know, because it's just not on the back. Still smells like the blushes of old, that rosy kind of shade, that rosy kind of smell. But I gotta show you the gold in here. Look at that. Super smooth too, like super smooth. So gorgeous. I was just like, oh, but I don't know the name of that one because it's not on there. The plastic is literally yellowed. See how yellow it is? And breaking, like it's breaking. But the shadows are fine, smell exactly like they did. 25 years ago. And then there's some palettes. All right. So this one, I don't even remember. This is Lumiere Soleil, and I've barely touched this. Look how cool that is. Look how cute that is. These are creams. These are like lipsticks. Look at that. Chanel, do something like this again. This is cute. That's different, unique. Come on, for all the money that we spend. And then what I also have on my face today, and I don't remember having existed, which I think is fascinating, bronzer. This is the Sierra bronzer. It's the Silky Bronzing Powder in 22 Sierra. Look at that. I didn't think Chanel, I don't remember Chanel having a bronzer, but apparently they did, and I bought it because I have it on my face. And it's really nice. It's a warmer shade, but I was like, I have to use it because I was just like, oh, come on. Silky, beautiful. Look at that. Comes with this really nice brush. And here's the funny thing about this brush. I was feeling it and I'm like, well, I'm sure it's synthetic. I don't think it is. I'm not sure that it is synthetic. It's cut, but I'm just like, huh. Yeah, see, way back in the, and I'm sure at the time all of these things were expensive. Don't get me wrong, Chanel was always expensive, Tom Ford was always expensive, Dior was always expensive. But I bet you in the relativity, like in the sense of what you get paid today versus what I got paid 25 years ago when I bought these things, I don't remember them being that much more expensive compared to today where, you know, you go to buy an eyeshadow palette, it's $110. Okay, so this one is Smoky Eyes. I loved this one. You can tell because it's like, tried to clean them up a little bit, but Smoky Eyes. And wait till you see this. This is what I love. Like, I just love like when things are just made well. Look at the shades. Can't wait to use that one. Yeah, and I did. I tested them out just to make sure everything was good, and they're all good. This is Rose Blossom Natural Finish Pressed Powder. I don't remember this product. Does anyone remember this product? I don't. But it's got this really like pink, beautiful sheen. So I'm going to use it today. I want to like, let me get, yeah, definitely has pink. And it's got glitter. Not glitter, but like, what is that? It's very like, it's not glitter. It's, I don't know what it is, but it looks stunning. And I was just like, when did this come out? And yeah, beautiful. And what I have on my eyes today, guys, this is Mysteres or Mysteres. On the back, the colors are actually, there's names of the shades on the back instead of now just like, I think it says light, dark, crease. I don't know if you can actually see that. Let's see if it'll focus. Come on, maybe that'll work. But the shades are Jade, Cider, Topaz, and Golden. And I have all the shades on my eye today except for the Jade. Now, the little sponges that are in here, they do have to be thrown away, the little sponges, because the sponges have broken down. That's fine. I'll toss those. But I use these three shades on my eyes. Look how beautiful that is. What a gorgeous look that it created. Now, I didn't use the Jade because I was like, I want to show everybody. Look how pretty it is. It's not like, it's just, I mean, yeah. Anyway, and then the liner I have on is the old Chanel liner in Blackwood. That's the waterproof one. That shade doesn't exist anymore. It's one of my favorites. When it's gone, I'm gonna be very sad. I am looking for it online to see if I can find it as secondary. The problem is those are, you know, they're liners. They can dry out if they're not stored properly, and they're cream. So, you know, they don't last as long as like the powders do. But guys, the look on my face today. And the headband I have is from Henry Bendel, which no longer exists. The necklace is a Trifari piece from, I think, the 50s or 40s, which again is an antique piece. The only thing that's on my eyes today that's new is my foundation, which is Laura Mercier. Everything else is from a bygone era, some older than others, like the necklace. But honestly, I think my makeup and my face looks better than a lot of the times that I do my makeup with a lot of the new products. And again, I am not saying that all the new products are bad. I'm not trying. I know, again, the title, your makeup is garbage, is, you know, very clickbaity. But my point trying to get across was, in all facets of the fashion industry and beauty, the perfumes, the sweaters, the perfumes, the clothes, the bags, the makeup, we have moved from an expectation of this, like the Terra bronzer and the shadows that just work beautifully and are incredibly pigmented and go on beautifully and you know, have great packaging and are unique and last for 15 to 20 years and still are better than the new ones. That was the expectation of luxury. That was the expectation of your Chanel bag or your, you know, a Dior jewelry, whatever it was. Like, that was, it wasn't, I hope it's good. It was, of course it's good. That is not where we're now. Where we are now is, I hope it's good. And I really hope that the brands, I've heard, I don't know if this is true, but I have heard that the luxury brands aren't doing as well as they once did. I hope they recognize some of this has to do with the fact that the quality isn't where it needs to be. And if you're purchasing a Chanel bag, for which is now a flat bag, $10,000, which means I will never own a flat bag, which is fine, and there's something wrong with the stitching or the, you know, the closure doesn't close right, that is ridiculous. That is unacceptable. And the same should be true for the beauty and the makeup products that we buy in skincare. If I can do this look, and I feel really confident and really love this look with 15 to 20-year-old makeup, the makeup that we're getting today should be as good. It should be as good. The Terra bronzer should not be better from a palette from 15 years ago than one from 4 years ago. That's not okay. The Chanel eyeshadow should not look, I mean, this looks, I personally am like, oh my goodness, this is so beautiful on the eye. It should not look this good. And then a new Chanel eyeshadow quad, sometimes they're really good, sometimes they have no pigment. So, this was a little bit of a salty Saturday, I will admit. But it's not here, I'm not here to knock the brands. I'm here to show you, and I think some of you, maybe younger, or maybe you didn't buy, you know, luxury makeup 20 years ago. Maybe you don't know the difference between what it used to exist and what exists now. And I think some brands are starting to meet the mark, like the Clé de Peau new eyeshadows. They are exceptional. The Hermès are exceptional. The Yves Saint Laurent ones are really, really good, extremely good. The Prada ones are exceptional. But, you know, the problem is the Clé de Peau's are $110. The Hermès, I think, are $110 or something in that range. The Yves Saint Laurents, at least, are reasonable. I mean, they're still incredibly expensive, but they're reasonable. And I want it to be, look, I get it. You have to source things. Supply chain is different. I understand that you can't just do what you did 25 years ago. But if there's a reason for the prices being more, explain it. You know, let us understand why something is more or why something is different or has to be sourced and what that means for us, and let us make those decisions. Because just slapping an expensive price on something and saying, well, we're luxury, it's more expensive, you know, we're smart. We can figure these things out. We can do our own research. And there's tons of people on YouTube and Instagram and everywhere else that can show what the products actually work like and say, hey, this is not good. So brands really need, in my opinion, to up their game. This is true for perfumes. This is true for bags. This is true for fashion. Many of the perfumes that I've bought lately, you know, I've been like, they're okay. Some are fantastic, but to be honest, I am spending my time and money picking up old perfumes, ones that have been discontinued, because the newer ones just aren't as good, in my opinion. There are some exceptions. Definitely some exceptions. The recent one that I would call to is Guerlain's Tobacco Honey. My opinion, totally worth it. Fantastic fragrance. It's not going to be for everybody, and no perfume should be, in my opinion, but it's really worth it. But if I go back and look at the old Guerlain's, the old Lancomes, the old Frederic Malls, the old Maison Kirchen, I mean, they discontinued so many really fantastic fragrances. I'm not exactly sure why in all cases some of them were discontinued, but in comparison to some of the things that are coming out now, it's just a disappointment. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm definitely going to be using these in upcoming videos so you can see them, but I just wanted to share all this with you. I thought it'd be fun, thought it'd be different. And like I said, it was just a weird confluence of events because my sister just sent me that article and I was reading it about how, you know, the quality has gone down, prices have gone up. And then I found all this old makeup and I was just like, oh my goodness. And I really expected it all to be bad, and no. It's better than the new stuff. So thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it. And I hope to see you in another video really soon. Bye.